Hello. Hi, everybody. Good morning, Trish. Hi, everybody. My goodness, we have a full house, Trish.
We do. We have lots of people. It's great. There are always people here. We really appreciate it. Hey
Hi,
Gina.
Tina, my love, Robin. Hi, Nan Reynolds. I think Nan is new.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Hey
So,
Nan. Glad you're here.
Todd, Desiree, Doug, Susie, Elizabeth. Hi, everybody. Marianne, how are you? Kathy, my love. I love you. Mwah. Thank you. Dini. Oh, Dini, I think you're new. I think so, maybe. Okay, Dini. Hi, everybody. My name is Clara. I am the co founder and chief strategy officer of List Perfectly. And I am the responsible for doing a customer centric company. So, what made me be a customer centric company with List Perfectly is that I was a reseller just like yourselves. I sold in my business, The Clothing Vault, for 14 years with my amazing co founder, Amanda Morse. We are both resellers, and out of desperation, we created List Perfectly. And I'm going to show you my website. I sold on eBay. I had my own website. This is my website. I sold vintage clothing. It's more like boutique what I sold. The name of my game was buy super low and sell as high as possible. And how did I do that? Because I leverage customer salaries in a particular way. All right. So I just want to show you, for example, some of the items. And this is done like what? This was in 2016. So I already had list clothing back in the day. And that led me to, with Amanda, to create both of us are resellers that we taught ourselves coding and not coders that we taught ourselves selling. So that is my introduction. Trish, could you be so kind to introduce yourself and give your reselling experience with the audience?
Sure. I owned a consignment store, a brick and mortar consignment store. That was an abject failure. And from that,
Never a failure, a learning experience.
okay, she's being nice, y'all. It was bad. It was bad, bad, bad. And what I is I took excess inventory that people, for what you guys know about consignment, you bring me 5 shirts, I sell 2, and then you have so long to come back and get the other 3. Most people didn't. And so then you could either donate them, you could resell them. They ended up belonging to the store. So I started with just items. Yes. Yay, Kathy. We're so happy
No,
about that.
sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. I was
No,
just pointing
no,
to the audience.
I'm
Okay.
very happy about that. Kathy and I spoke about it a couple days ago. So anyways,
Thank you for
so
guiding so many people to become eBay leaders as well.
yeah,
Okay.
of course. I'm very happy about that one specifically. So anyways, so we're going to I took the excess clothes and started selling it just to make rent. And
Mm-hmm.
from that, I decided I had to close the stores. Closed the store and I ended up with 3 20 by 30 units of
Wow.
clothing full. And I decided
Wow.
when those were done, I would never touch clothing again. It's a joke between my husband and I that I said I was going to be a nudist because I hated clothing that much. And by the time I had finished the second quote one full of clothing, I was like, I got to figure out how to source. Hey, Cheryl. So for me, my experience is very different than Clara's.
Yeah.
Clara's experience, I think we both care very much about giving good customer service,
Yep.
but I think I sold through search. I think I sold by somebody wanting a 2X red blouse, and I happen to have that 2X red blouse. I don't think
Yeah.
they cared that it was coming from me specifically. And I think Clara built a following
Boutique.
and a business that people wanted to buy from the clothing vault because they knew of their. And I don't think anyone cared if they were buying from Super Sale Trish.
Uh,
As long as they got it and it was good. Now, listen, if you got something from me and it was crap, then of course you
uh,
did care who you were getting it from, right?
yeah.
But So I think we just come at it from a different perspective.
Absolutely. That couldn't be, that's why we call it today a debate. We're talking about Trish, volume seller. Whereas me, I'm a boutique seller. The name of my game was how much can I get for every dollar I invest in the clothing vault? How much did I get in return? For me, at my peak in 2016, keep in mind that I was one of the few, well, only expensive companies back in the day were doing cross posting. In 2016, I already have the first version of List Clothing, which is called the Mandy Lister. So I already was cross posting to Etsy, and to have Etsy and eBay listings done in 10 minutes in 2016, I
Huge.
was wow,
Yeah.
guys. It took, I went from $200,000 to 350. That's when, but you say, sometimes I hear people say, oh, I do $1 million in sales every year. But what's worth if your return of investment per dollar sometimes is like what, 50 cents, a dollar? For me, for every dollar I invested, I got $200 back. And my
But
average sold price was 200. The average sold price of my items was $200. And that's my, sorry, Trish, I just want to explain
yeah,
that we're going to talk about today quality, okay, customer service versus debating with Trish about quantity because you want to list less and sell more. Two very different. Trish, she had to go and buy. She wanted more volume, and she would list. Well, how many listings you had at the top of your career, Trish?
about 14,000.
Dear Lord, no, me, 5,000 guys, 5,000 listings. And I had a 3-car garage full of items. That's it. Because when I had with Amanda up to 1,200 items, we had in a 1-car garage, and literally it was like triple racks, but because it was tall, otherwise it couldn't fit. So yes, I encourage you, beautiful audience. Okay. This is a debate. Trish and we come from two different angles. And the best part of this is that your reseller journey is dynamic. And you might say today, oh, no, I would never sell like Clara. I'm going to do volume. Guess what? You might end up doing volume in the future. And those doing volume, okay, might be like, no, I would never do what Clara was doing, or selling like boutique, so either or. Just this is very important. This session is geared towards you. And on top of that, whatever you're doing, being customer centric. Look at, I'm just going to put an example of List Perfectly. Look at List Perfectly. We are debt free. I have no investors. All right. I've been no sales team, no advertising. And it's been 5 years I'm in business. Why? Because I'm freaking customer centric on every possible channel. We're customer centric freaks, okay? We are like all day, it's like literally on every channel. I'm like, did you like my instructions? How was the onboarding? How was importing? What can I do best? So we're constantly doing that. So today we're going to talk about how two different approaches, okay, has led to success to both of us. And I invite you right now, start popping your questions. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do I mean with this? We're also going to talk about those mean customers that they buy something, use it, return it, and abuse it, right? Or sometimes they just didn't like the color and they say, this is pastel. I don't know. And I wanted a red one, whatever. So we're going to be talking about all of that. So, Trish, what is your perspective, okay, on the customer, where your customer preferences, okay, were based, I assume, largely based on your pricing? Was that your strong relationship with your customers, or how did you approach customer service on a volume business? With what is it, 15,000 listings, guys?
I don't have that now. Now I'm about 9,000, but I do have a full-time job
Oh,
now,
I'm
so
so
I have
sorry.
to.
Just 9,000. Okay, so sorry, Trish.
Okay. So for me, I think that you said to me when we first started talking about this, you said to me that you really got to know your customer, right?
Yeah.
That oh, sure, Gina, I see how it is, my friend. No, I'm kidding. Um, So you said to me you got to really know your customer. And may I ask you a question, Clara? At the height of your success,
Sí.
what was your recidivism rate? How often did you get a return customer?
Uh, when the things change, my life changed. I had no return customers. But when I started to do social commerce, that's when everything changed. And I couldn't believe, that guys, a stupid Instagram page. Because for me at that time, I'm an eBay seller. I consider social media, taking selfies. I'm not a Poshmark seller. Poshmark people are more like media driven. eBay sellers were not, at least in back in the day. I'm talking about 15 years ago. eBay didn't even recommend it to get a social media channel. So for me, change, Trish, my life changed forever when I did social media. Everything started with creating the Instagram, the clothing vault. So imagine I was one of the first ones to look at this. And I'm going to look at the date, Trish, September 2019. All right. This is when I was doing already listings. Look at that. Oh, perfectly formatted with measurements. Look at the comments. Look at that. This is what changed my life forever, to
So
have returning customers. And I think, you know what I did? I took a picture also where if you go to my, Google it, okay? Instagram, the clothing vault, you can see that I put a couple of pictures of where we store the clothing. And I even won eBay cases where people told me that my clothing smell like, I don't know, horrible, like cigarettes, like mothballs. I won those cases because I showed them where I stored the items. And I told them, look, go and look at my Instagram account and how big it is. And I have pictures of in that, Trish, I did Pinterest, I did Instagram, I did Facebook business page, and that changed forever. And that's when I started to have customers like Ralph Lauren,
right.
HRC, Rain Spooner, Tommy Bahama. So they were buying from us because they wanted to reissue, redo. They didn't have the originals.
So I mean, but I think what's interesting about that is so you had a very niche market, and I
See,
would expect that people would start to follow you and you would have a following and people would be like, oh, I got a great, if you were a vintage collector and you got a
I
great,
believe that people criticize us that we were not a niche market
oh,
because
they're crazy. You're a niche market. It's a total
no,
niche
back in the day, no, because I was doing women's
yeah.
vintage, men's vintage, kids vintage, militaria, and then I started to do modern. So everybody criticized that, and they even eBay advised me on a consultation that I should segment, which I did. But you know why I segmented? Not because eBay told me, because I asked my customers. And you know which customers I would ask? The ones that I didn't complete the sale, the ones that would buy something and didn't pay. I was like, hey, don't worry, I'll cancel, I'll do whatever. And I would put it on me. I would even eat this. Just give me the feedback. Why didn't you go through? And they would tell me, you know what, Clara, I didn't want to go through the purchase. I love the listing, but you have items of $10 and I'm buying you right now a $5,000 jacket. It makes me feel like or you don't have the item or it's damaged. And that's when everything changed for me. And I put all my cheap items on, which literally was winter vintage. That's another eBay store and brand that I own. And that's literally when I segmented my store, but because my customers asked me.
So, but I mean, I guess what I was trying to say is I think that even if they didn't think it was a niche market, then we all know it's a niche market. There's only a certain kind of person who is going to buy a vintage piece of clothing, right?
Yep. Yep.
And for me, I sold or still sell mostly
Yeah.
used everyday humdrum Target, Walmart, Macy's, you know what I mean? Middle of the road to lower end stuff.
Yeah.
And Star and I think Star and I have the same basic
Yes.
business model, right? Volume, yeah, not much quality, but a lot of quantity, and a lot of quantity for a good price. And you get exactly the size you want, the color you want. We'll send it to you. It's clean, it's neat, it's packaged well. But I would be willing to bet that Stars Now, maybe a little bit different because she has a social media following, but
Yeah.
I bet her return customer rate is not that high, and neither is
Well,
mine.
careful, 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 because this is what I talk to a lot. Star Bryson, Flipping Hippos has Facebook
Right.
group,
That's what I mean.
Facebook page, YouTube. But careful, that content is geared for sellers.
Oh, totally. But what I'm saying to
I
you is
hear my content was totally geared
totally
for
correct.
buyers. I did not create it. Not you won't find not even one single post of me saying you should sell like this or sell like
No, no,
me.
no. That isn't what I meant. What I meant
Mhm,
is hers may be inflated a little because other sellers may like her and want to buy from her. So it
mhm.
may be inflated a little, but I am willing to bet that hell, me too, honey, for a very
Hell yeah.
long time, Walmart,
It is
Target
a Cox. T-Money, that's Walmart
paid
too. Yeah,
my
good
bills.
return. But the
And
key, if you're gonna buy from Walmart, do it after the holidays, okay? Yes, wake up after New Year's. I don't want to hear that you were partying like an animal, okay? Just go on January 1st, okay? You go there like around what is it, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and get the liquidation, okay?
but I bet Stars return customer rate is low. Mine is very low.
Okay.
And mine is very low because I am not niche down. Because
Yeah.
if you got a size 12 jeans from me today, I may
Yeah.
not have any size 12 jeans for another few months. If you came in, I I just don't think that the business that I have, I
Yeah.
can market. Now, there are
And
people
how
in
was your
this chat.
customer service with these kind of with volume buyers? Okay,
Uh-huh.
or I don't know, maybe no. Let me rephrase that. When you're a volume seller, how is your interaction, your customer service? What is the standard? For example, in my case, when you sell vintage clothing, most people are like, "Is this really vintage or reproduction?" And we start always from there, and then that's when I know when people start from like, "I'll give you $10." I'm like, okay, doesn't even understand the product. So I go a different route with customer service. But when they ask me, is this modern, vintage, or reproduction? I know my customer service. How is it with you guys?
I don't uh, I have very little interaction, really.
Really?
Yeah, there's mostly it's just I want this shirt, I'm buying this shirt, and I send them the shirt, and I say thank you. We package very well.
Yeah,
It comes in neat. I have 100% feedback right now, which everybody don't get upset if you don't have 100% feedback because
exactly.
you're gonna get a negative. I got one, 8 months ago. It
It
fell off.
happens.
Exactly. Um, and we
We're
say
going to talk about, hold on, pause there, hold that thought. We're going to talk about, there's a very good book called Hug Your Haters. Resellers, okay, you need to listen even to the angry customers. Sorry, Trish, go ahead.
no, that's okay. And so I find that I have very little to do with the customer unless there's an issue. And
Right. Ah,
even when there's an issue, I have free returns and I
wow.
have free 60-day returns. So you can, and you open up a return, it automatically gives you a label. You send it back to me as soon as I get it, I refund your money.
Uh-huh.
And I have very little issues with that either.
What was
So
your return ratio?
my return rate right now is about 4.5%, which
Okay, mine too. That was mine too. Yeah,
I
mine
think
too.
in
Believe it or
clothing,
not. Yes,
I
four
think
and a half. I
clothing,
said 4.2, 4.5.
yeah, I think in clothing, um, I think in clothing, it's always going to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And it has gone up all the way to 6 if I have a rash of some crazy, and it goes back down. But I mean, I think used clothing, that's why measurements are important, things like that. But, you know, I have been every size from a size 22 to a size 10, okay? And in my adult life, that's a big swing. And
Yeah.
I am not somebody who can say to you, "Oh, I can wear a size 14 jean every time." And we all know women's clothing don't work like that anyways, right? You can
Yeah.
wear one size in one thing and another
Oh,
thing in another.
and
So,
don't get me started with vintage.
right,
Vintage?
vintage is
Oh, what is
right.
it? Size 20. It's equivalent to a size 8 nowadays. Okay. You have no idea, guys, what I went through reselling vintage. People tell me, of course, it was me, my error, my
Of
wrong
course.
measurement, but not them. Okay. That
No,
didn't pay attention. That is an original vintage item. And I'm like, included the measurements. Include your measurements. If you're selling clothing, anything above $50, include measurements.
Exactly. And so I think that Gina, I love you. I just want you to know. I just want everyone to know I love Gina. But anyways, the whole thing is, I think you're completely right, Clara. Measurements come into effect and how you handle them. But did you go out of your way make to figure out? Did you try to build a relationship from the very beginning?
Yes, yes. So what I did is started with the listing. To those of you that you're not using the Pro Plus, there is a reason why I built the Pro Plus. Guys, I have a paid off company. I have no debt. I did it. I just want to give it to you. Literally, I did it. I'm like, I can retire right now and I can live happily forever after. Okay. But I want you to have access to this because what we did with Amanda was a listing that could have an introduction, describe whether it's modern, whether it's hard goods, or whether it's clothing or accessories. I could do an introduction, a very original introduction. Why? Because I wanted people to know that they were buying from a small business. That was my passive aggressive, if you see, message that I was sending to the buyer. I'm a small business, okay? So I would do like a very detailed listing and try to address us proactively as much like measurements, okay? Gosh, converting those measurements from inch. I was one of the first ones converting from inches to centimeters automatically, so I could tackle on the European market because everything is centimeters there. So for me, Trish, okay, was first doing a very thorough listing. Try the Pro Plus literally because we built it just how Amanda, if you go and see the clothing vault listings, go and see what the proprietor is creating. We played a lot, okay? We've been playing with this like for 10 years with Amanda. We've been dreaming about this. Having a listing that stands out and is not a listing that, yes, can you create a listing with list perfectly with a barcode reader? Yes, but it's going to be a listing that looks exactly as another company. So my angle was to be different, and that's how I start. They would message me, I would take immediately anything, even if you send me a horrible offer. For me, that was a call to action to build a relationship, and I wasn't even chasing the sale. All right. And I'll be honest, yes, I was cherry picky. If it was someone new, a new buyer on eBay, I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting my time. But if I see that it's someone that is buying on eBay for 10 years, why wouldn't you want to build a relationship with that person?
All right, but
Eventually.
let me ask you a question based on that.
Yep.
So how much, I think this is also a time versus money thing, right?
Okay.
So for me, the only way I made enough money was if I was listing, 40 to 50 a day, 7
Yeah.
days a week, okay?
Oh.
So I did a bank system, so I would have things go live on the weekend. I'm not saying I work 7 days a week, but I had live 40
Yeah.
listings a day. And what was your volume like when you were doing this?
It was different because I was having such a big margin of
Right.
return.
I know
I
it's
could
much
afford to
different.
have two employees. So I have two part-time employees that were my listers. So I would be happy with 5 to 10 listings a day because my sell-through rate was very aggressive. I literally everything. Vintage usually takes 1 to 2 years. You can ask Vicky, Victoria
Mhm.
Egan, LB Pink Peacock. Okay, you go check out her eBay store, is incredible. So 1 or 2 years, we got to a point that we were selling things that were vintage, one of a kind, in 6 months, because I was doing such an aggressive funnel from social media channels, okay, and sending it from my website, everything. I was one of the first ones to send traffic. With Amanda, we're like, no, we're not going to steal traffic from eBay and Etsy. We're going to send traffic to eBay and Etsy. And then Ralph Lauren went and bought a couple of items from our eBay store. Then they bought from our website, and they bought from Etsy, Ralph Lauren. And then I would have people that they would just come and say, your stories, your listings and stories so amazing that I'm just buying this as gift for everybody. And I couldn't believe that back in the day, 10 years ago, Trish, nobody would give pre-owned clothing as a gift for holidays.
No. And it's still only kind of becoming a thing now. I mean, and I think that's still not a huge thing. Vintage, I think, maybe has a different connotation than just regular used clothing. But I do think it's interesting, you're putting up 10 a day comparatively to my 50. When you're putting up
Yeah,
10 a day and you have 2 employees, right?
yeah.
I'm doing 50 a day by myself. Or
No,
at some point,
no, I would die.
right. So what I'm saying is also within the business model, right? You have the ability and the time to to encourage these relationships, to have the conversations. And I think for your price point, it makes sense. For
Yes,
my price point, it didn't make sense
yes,
because I would have made less money if I had gone after the relationship rather than just getting more stuff up because my stuff was selling by search. Now,
exactly. Yep.
I,
And
yeah,
that's what happened with my second shop that I sold the cheap stuff. I couldn't afford to be like, "Hi Trish, how is
right,
your daughter? How is
right,
Liz?
right,
Did your husband? How is the weather in
yeah,
Massachusetts?" No, I can't because
right,
it's a $20 item.
right,
And what is it? The $5 shipping? I don't even make money. Not even in the shipping, not even on the item. Okay.
right. Do you want the item or not? Let's keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So then the next question becomes,
Hmm.
at what point, I mean, those two things, I think, right? We talked about this morning. Anyone who doesn't know, List Perfectly has a service called Listing Party. Anyone
Yeah.
who belongs to List Perfectly, you automatically get to use Listing Party.
Yeah.
Every morning we have a mastermind class. And this morning,
Yep.
this actually came up about scaling your business and getting to the next level
Yeah.
and when you should scale. And I said this morning, there really are two ways to scale, right? You can scale through, um, price, as in you get a higher price per item, or you can scale through volume. And
Exactly.
Clara basically scaled through price, and
Yep.
I scaled through volume.
That's right.
But once you choose one of those two paths, it affects everything else. And one of the things it affects is how you do customer service.
Yes.
I mean, I think it also affects the relationship that you have with your customer. My relationship is very cordial.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Much more matter of fact. You know what I mean? Thank you
Yeah.
for your purchase. It's being sent out tomorrow. Have a good weekend. You know what I mean? Whereas you may be more like, oh, so what else? Are there other pieces that you like? What are you looking for? What did you enjoy? I would never ask that. That would never
But you
come into
know how I chose my path?
no.
Thanks to Amanda. That's
Yeah.
how I met Amanda. So, guys, when I met Amanda, she came to my house to a barbecue and she shows me a sale of a Ralph Lauren vest with a hole in the chest that she sold for $200. And I was like, what? Is that even legal to sell something broken and flawed? Okay. And then people paying you that money. And can you believe, like I always say, that person thanking Amanda, 5 stars review, which I thought she would get sued. Okay. And 5 stars review, and then sends her a message showing her that was the reason that they bought that vest. They've been looking for that item for 10 years because he proposed to the wife on that vest 10 years and they were going to renew their vows. So that for me indicated, Amanda from the beginning told me, Clara, these are emotional buyers, emotional customers. And I
Well,
was like, I came from banking. I'm like, I'm coming
yeah.
from managing mortgages, the
Yeah.
biggest investment that people can do. And I'm like, no, that's nothing for me.
Well, and I'm just interested, Desiree just wrote, so the quality of the listing then matters. So I'm just wondering what you mean by that, Desiree.
It
But
does.
no, it does.
It really
Absolutely.
depends of your, like, that's a debate today. So I'm going to say, yes, it does. Because when you do better listings, you can get more money. And I have proven this over and over again. But in your case, Trish, I don't know. Let's
Hey,
debate this.
A used Walmart shirt is only worth what it's worth, right? Like it's never gonna go up in value. It's only gonna go down. And so it's not an investment piece. It's not somebody who's like, I want this, you know, I sell a lot of clothing and I think it is only worth what it's worth. I try to do the best listing I can within the time frames that I think make sense. And
Right.
thank goodness I do not talk about um I don't say this often, but List Perfectly really, especially the express lister, has made it so that I think my listings have gotten better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because and
That
fast
was our dream. Even
yeah,
if you're volume seller, because you can even squeeze you guys, volume sellers, $1 or $2 more per item. Wow. It's a lot more for you guys.
um, I totally agree with this, Star. That isn't what I meant. I guess what I meant was is we can't I sell them all the time for more than they sold in the store. Agreed completely. I guess what I meant was is we can't ever say it's $600 like Clara could, is what I meant. Like it's not vintage in that way. I totally agree. We sell them for more than they were in the store all of the time. And I also agree with her. Good photos and good titles and
Yes.
good feedback. I think
Yep.
she hit all three of those.
Yep.
And I think that's very
And
important.
Star shared that her return rate is only 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Okay. There you have it. It's possible to be top rated seller, to have a 1 or 2% return ratio, even if you're a volume seller. Clara mentioned people love her listing and she did less listing, spending more time on the listing for more money when you did more. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the thing. We really put that was my angle when I was fighting with pricing and making offers and counter offers. I could never accept an offer. I just by nature I counter offer. It's like I can't accept the offer unless it's irresistible because I put my price so high. But other than that, for me, okay, it's just something that building a relationship, understanding the customer has opened me, has allowed me to have an incredible journey, to have repeat customers, and even if they didn't have repeat customers, please don't never underestimate. Send the people. Okay, I would send, like, literally I would do, like, because okay, at that time I was very very broke. Okay, so I would print, okay, my eBay store address, and in the package I would include it for three other people, and I would say, thank you for supporting a small business. Would you be so kind to share my store with three other of your friends? If you're not doing this, why aren't you? Why? Please, I beg you, I want you to go and start doing this. Please do not underestimate every sale. You should be asking, okay, for people to come back. Okay, for example, Desiree Luxury on a Dime says, I start with a thank you message. You can automate this on every different platforms. Mostly, okay. You can automate, okay, say thank you, and you open the line of communication. Desiree says, letting them know to message me for any real even after they get the package. That's right. Don't be scared to build a relationship, because even if you have a dispute or a case, let's say that a person is uh, it's unfairly opening an item not as described, the first thing that eBay or any marketplace gonna ask you is gonna say, did you try to resolve the issue with the buyer? So that's why being proactive, like Desiree said, okay, to start with an automatic message saying thank you for the purchase, let me know if you have any questions, your item will be I don't know, whatever your handling time is. But I think that that's the best way you can do to reduce cases, because once you start giving proactive customer service, this buyer knows that you are on top of it. This buyer knows that you're taking pride in your small business. All right, don't let the buyers take that away from you. All right, so that's my 2 cents, my spiel there, Trish.
I just would like to, Malika. So, how are you having a relationship if the customer just orders from you on Poshmark? Should we be adding a messages to the order? Now, I'm going to guess that Clara's going to say yes on this. I am going to say it depends. If you're selling something that you think has a repeat buyer rate, then I think trying to start a relationship is a great idea. If you're somebody like me, I don't think it helps one iota. I did it for years. for years and years, like 5 years. Every single Poshmark order I wrapped. I put a hand thank you note in it. I put a coupon in it. I gave free gifts. I had earrings that I just little earrings. They were in it, said thank you, and it was a present with a gift. But I had them,
I
so I was
would
just
never do that. Okay,
I,
debate people. Yes, we're debating here.
I
I
got them,
would never do that.
but it didn't help me once. I
No,
never had, I mean, so I am not, I think it depends on what you sell. And the stuff that I am selling, I think is so readily available. All they care about is price point and how fast I can get it. Now, if you're somebody who is selling something that is higher value and you think that person's going to come back and they're going to care where they're getting it from, then I think that you have a case. Now, I just would like to say Desiree is in Mastermind, and she is here, and she vehemently disagrees with my philosophy on this.
absolutely. Let's debate, and so do I. Let's go back to Malika, please.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry. I just wanted to say that
Okay, no,
I
no, no, no,
know
no.
she
Wait. Okay, so Malika, I love your question. Thank you so much for watching. And I would like to say Poshmark is, for me, besides Depop, the only platforms that are doing, Poshmark for me is the one that is doing social commerce, right? What does that means? That is not just a marketplace, but they added so many social features in that platform that for me, now just to give you an idea, Malika, on Poshfest, I met buyers that came to Poshfest because they said they wanted to meet the seller. And they're like, I'm not a seller. I just wanted to meet my seller. And I couldn't believe that Poshmark is the first marketplace able to combine an event in which uh, buyers and sellers are attending. And for me, that's just incredible. With Poshmark, you have all these features, sharing. Poshmark does a very good job, Malika. If you respond, doing, being proactive with responses, Poshmark is really good to send you. For example, let's say I went to Malika's closet and I didn't buy, and I sent you a question, and then somehow I didn't answer. I tested this myself, Malika. And let's say I didn't, let's say life gets in the middle. And 1 week later, no, sorry, 3 days later, I didn't log into Poshmark or I didn't reply to your message. Poshmark is sending me an email saying, hey, Malika has responded to you. Malika is waiting for your answer. And then Poshmark, Malika, gives you the capacity of sending me offers. So there is, for me, Poshmark has more tools that are more, um, you know, uh, let's say for to socially connect with your buyers, whereas eBay don't have these tools. All right, it's more like paying promotion listings. All right, so it's different. So I hope I answer your question, because Postmark is an incredible platform where you should be building a lot of relationships with your customers. In If you're selling something under $50, unless you're buying it for $1, Malika, if you're buying it for $1 and you're selling it for 50, yay, keep doing that customer service. That's a great return of investment. But if you're buying something for $10, $12 and then selling it for 30 or 25, then I would say depends on that. Just let the automation tools, the tools, and we even have List Perfectly has sharing, following, and sending offers. So use those tools, okay? If you have items, but I would send messages. If someone is messaging me from an item $100 and above, wow, I would be messaging you, Malika. Oh my God, how beautiful! Whatever is your profile. Let's say, oh, I love Maryland. I've never been in Maryland, right? How is the weather, right? Icebreaker, right there. Okay.
I love Maryland. I've never been to Maryland.
So I thought I would give my 2 cents on that, Trish.
I thought it was funny. But I think it's just the thing about volume, or not even volume. The
Yeah.
thing about people who sell items that are not very high, not very expensive, right? Let's say under $100. If your average sale price is less than $100, I think that consistent listing becomes very important. What
Yes.
I worry about is that some of you guys will spend too much time on this and
Well,
not
that's why
enough
I
time
was
on
lucky
listing.
to have. That's why dividing my stores was so very key, because you know what happened, Desiree, when I did the $5 same treatment to the $500, I keep, because with Amanda, we're very tech savvy. So what we found out, okay, is that when we had an item and someone else was listing it, they would pretend come on over and try to haggle you. And as you're negotiating and they're sending an offer, you're missing the real buyer. And in the meantime, this person would send you, and I'm telling you, this happens, Desiree. That's why I segmented my stores, from cheap items. Everything that was $100 and less would go to one store, unless it was something like, $50 and super trendy, but, whatever it was. But, for me, Desiree, that was my challenge. Why I didn't treat the $5 customer the same. And this is just, I'm talking about reselling, okay? Because with List Perfectly, $29, $49, $69. Everybody gets 24/7, 365 days of the year customer service, all right? But yes, you don't have to pay extra to get the same customer service as a pro plan. But for me, okay, like you said, finally we agree on something, Trish. Finally, okay? So it took us what, 44 minutes? Incredible. We agree on something.
If I'm still here Monday, guys, it'll be a miracle. What happened to Trish? She was asked.
I love it. Ay, ay, ay. Okay,
No, but
let's.
I think it's true.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's true that Prop House 504, Michelle, you have to know yourself. I knew I don't have it in me to be a volume reseller. See, I
Uh-huh.
think this is important. Oops,
Yeah.
wrong one. Sorry, Crystal, we'll go back to
Okay.
you. I
Oh
have
my
to,
God, I love the kitty. I'm sorry, I got an
okay.
ADD moment. Sorry, I'm back. I'm back.
Very excited about the cats. You have to know yourself. I knew I don't have it in me to be a volume reseller. So instead of increase my average list price and I have a floor price, my ASP is up 95.1% year to date over last year. One of the most
Wow.
important things you can do in this business is to be honest with yourself and what you're capable of, what you're going to do, and what you're not going to do. And if
Yeah.
you're somebody who doesn't really enjoy the listing and doesn't really enjoy the photos, but you love to source and you're a good sourcer and you don't mind the research, going a higher volume, a higher price point versus higher volume could be a really good thing. And Michelle, I think what you're saying is very smart.
Yeah. Oh, look what Jill says. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Look what Jill says. I have better report with eBay customers than I ever had with Poshmark customers. How interesting, Jill. But
Jill,
let's
it's
keep in
different.
mind that I know Jill. She's an eBay native
Native.
seller.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Very different. When I speak with a native Poshmark seller, it's a whole different thing. I'm not saying that you're doing, Jill, a different treatment, okay? I'm saying it's very different. And you're right, Jill. It's very different, the demeanor of the buyer behavior and expected customer service. Because, man, yes, Poshmark customers are
Needy.
demanding.
Yeah.
Yes,
Needy. But
demanding. And
Crystal,
even if it is $20, they're demanding. They're
exactly.
very demanding.
I just want to say, Crystal, I'd never be able to do the volume I need to do if I engaged on a high level with customers. I use thank you
Yeah,
stickers and answer messages promptly. Other than that, I keep it minimal.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I did. And Crystal and I have a very similar, if not exactly the same business model. So I am exactly there with Crystal. I think at a certain price point, you don't have enough time to be able to get everything you need to get done every day to keep the beast moving, right? To
All
keep
right.
the team going.
All
So
right.
I really think it depends on your business model.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Desiree disagrees. She says she treats a $5
No.
buyer as a 500. I tried it, and then when I realized the scam behind it, I was so upset because you're trying to do the best customer service, right? Unfortunately, and you know this on eBay, and you know what, Trish? It wasn't not even a real buyer; it was a software.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were upset. We
But
brought this up to Eva. I'll never forget. I was like, "This is bad," and it was just targeting different sellers. And I was able to identify, because at that time, okay, this person left public the buying history, transaction history, and I was like, every single transaction, the person was complaining and leaving in negatives and etc. But it was intense.
but here's the other thing about Desiree,
Yeah.
because I know her. She's in a replenishable model. So a lot of her items are
Yes, it is
replenishable.
true. Yeah.
So here's the thing, you're building a relationship with somebody for twofold, not just for that one sale, because
Yeah.
you know that they could come back and get that same thing again and again and again from you.
But you know what? It
So
is
for her
true because it
specifically,
also depends how you source. Because Desiree is like literally, she buys like, what
correct.
is it, 5, 10 pallets, twice
Yeah.
a year, and that's it. Me, I have to travel 3 times a month to Los Angeles. Literally, I would leave home 3 a.m., arrive to Los Angeles at 7 a.m. Then from there, a source, okay, my wholesalers that I met at the Rose Bowl. So now you're going to a wholesaler buying from them, and then you have to buy like big bulks. Like I have to buy like at minimum 100 items and minimally spend $2,000. And I would do this 3 times a month. So for me, I I decided to put my efforts on sourcing higher end products and building relationship with my customers so I could instill trust in them so they could come back. And then, like I told you, social media exploded the clothing vault. We just it was just incredible. And it was like a I cannot even it was like a blessing, Trish, because this is when Amanda literally is learning all day, like 18 hours, teaching herself coding and managing. I have to pay her bills, my bills, and make it. And we did this for 2 years. So for me, that was the only way I could have ever done it. Could I've done? Was I tempted to do volume? And did I have the contact? I thought about becoming a wholesaler of vintage clothing, physical, and I do a hybrid. But I like so much customer service online. Having done customer service in person in banking, having done customer service phone support, okay, in banking, having done all kinds of customer service, I applied that experience into List Perfectly. As you know, we don't have phone support because I find it not, it's more for sales or something simple. But what really fixes an issue, for example, with List Perfectly and fast and the best customer service when we have it is our video calls.
Right.
So it's determining, and again, it depends of, do I have customers that they ask me for a phone call? You bet, daily, all right? Do I have to sit down and explain them, hey, there is no way from the phone, okay, that I can know, okay, when I'm talking to you, that I can know what version of List Perfectly, because,
Right.
okay, Trish, what version do you have?
Right.
All right.
I have no clue.
Try clearing your cache and cookies. Oh, you have to go to the burger menu. So you see, learn sometimes is understanding your customers, then you process different venues to resolve and exceed their expectations, and then choose what works best for the customers. Listen to your customers, but make sure that you're comparing with different processes in your business so you can grow in the direction they want, so you can source what they want. Because
Well,
once,
yeah, I was just going to say about sourcing. There was
tell me.
Jill and Star were talking in the chat that
Hmm.
sourcing and what business model you have sometimes can depend on where you are, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Desiree does liquidations too. You know, it depends on how much capital you have at your disposal. It depends on
Yeah.
where you right. She's in Pittsburgh. There's not, there's not a lot of luxury items. But she said a couple of minutes ago that she can find the 99-cent things all the time.
Yep.
So, it is some of this is based on what's available to you. And in today in Mastermind,
Uh-huh.
I made it very clear that I thought when you were deciding to scale and what you thought your business was going to be, some
Yeah.
of this depends on what you can get your hands on all of the time, right?
Yeah.
What you can source consistently,
Yep.
because you cannot start a business. I'm going to do high end vintage, but I can only find it every once in a while. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's not helpful, right?
No. No.
But you were able to find sources that you could go to. I understand you had to drive, but
Yeah.
you could do it on the regular, and you
Yes.
knew they would be there, and you knew you could spend, and you knew you could get enough clothing. So sometimes what we sell and what niche we end up in depends on what we're able to source.
Right, 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 right. And I want to encourage audience. Let's go. Come on, start sending your questions. Ask me anything. All right. Do you have maybe a dispute? Someone that is trying to be disrespectful to you on messages, someone that is being very happy with you in messages, anything. Let me know what situations, and I would be happy to give you with Trish our feedback. I really want to remind you what I love what Desiree Lecture on a Dime said. She starts with an automated thank you for your purchase message. And that message, guys, I can assure you will help you to reduce your items as not as described, because it's going to show marketplaces that you're proactively reaching out to customers. That's what they want to see, and that it's a very that's a solid tip that I'm giving you. We had somebody with a positive feedback, angry that she bought from Hippo store.
The anti-hippo star? Like, what the hell is that all about? What is she? Who doesn't like
I love it.
hippos?
That was good karma star, because by mistake she hit the positive instead of the negative.
So funny.
I love it. I love it. No, please send us your questions. But oh, she bought plus
Oh, I
size.
was offended. She thought she was calling the
Oh,
store a hippo store. Star, that's
star.
aw.
Ah,
Sorry, I kind of feel bad
I
for her.
never thought about it.
Did you write her?
Wow.
Did you
That's
write her
not
to
your
tell her?
fault. No, come on. Maybe someone in Argentina calls me koala, and then Kimberly has koala trading, and I'm going to be offended and leaving you a negative because I bought from koala trading. Come
No,
on.
no, no. She's saying that the woman thought that it was a plus size clothing store, and she named it the Hippo Hut because plus size women are heavy. That's what she's saying.
No, I understand plus size heavy, but
Oh,
I understood that she was offended when she saw the name of the store
yeah.
she bought from. Susie is like, what's an anti-hippo? That lady was me.
That lady was me. Doug, stop
Dag. Okay.
time. Behave
Dag.
yourselves.
Behave, Dag. Oh, yeah, she can have the
Seriously.
life she deserves. Bye, Felipe. Oh,
Oh
but
my God,
yes,
you're all so
please
funny.
send us anybody. Do you have any questions? Take advantage, okay? Whether customer service, anything that you can do for appreciation. For me, okay. For me, what I did is also I did. I'm not sure if this is allowed now. Back in the day, the legal team of eBay allowed me to, when I package an item, because eBay was my, obviously I sold more than eBay than my website. Okay. So, what they allowed me to do is on the invoice, Trish, I would put a coupon, go to the www.theclothingvault.com, and here is your coupon for 30% off. And they allow me to do that. And that also, hell, I would have so many customers asking me about that. It was incredible. Hi, I just came from eBay, and what is this? What is that?
Well, I mean, I do think you're allowed to put stuff in there. They don't control what you put in the packages. I don't know
Oh,
about on
really?
the no, I don't know about on the eBay invoice itself, but you could definitely have a card made that if you had your own website, if you had a Shopify store, if you had something else that you would like to try to get them to go to, you absolutely could put them in your
Well,
packages.
back in the day was very strict, just in case we cleared it with the legal department, and that was also very helpful for us. And also we would let them know, if this is not gonna be a 5-star review, would you be so kind to message us first before leaving feedback?
Yep.
We want to
And I
exceed
think
your
most
expectations, and that one also, you know, because your job when you're dealing with a distressed customer, you got to understand these grantul or distressed customers, okay? You could be like the straw that broke the camel back, all right? And A, don't take it personal. B, it can be having a bad day and then you just happen to respond at the wrong time and whatever it is, and then you have a stress customer. So the idea is just to get them to talk. Okay, so Trish, you think that my product is garbage. I really apologize about it. Would you mind sharing what caused you that impression? Your job is to make them talk, okay? Why you think my shipping is too much? Why you think my product is garbage? Why you think my packages stinks? Why you think my item is flawed? Anything, get them to talk. Your job is to make them answer, because that's what marketplaces want to see, that you're proactively reaching out to your customers. And then from there, that looks really good. You might even lose a case, but then you appeal it, and you would be surprised when you are like, hey, I'm appealing because I did everything to communicate with this customer, and actually it's not an item not as described. Oh, Luxury on a Dime says,
yeah.
how did you scale, Clara? What is scaling your business in the selling business means to you? How did I scale? Was increasing my return of investment. That was crucial to increase my average sold price. That was crucial for me, Desiree. Uh, Measuring. I went into very hard onto my taxes, my accounting. I organized the heck of my accounting. I realized I had a thirst. It, if you, I can't explain. It's like I knew that already. I pictured the growth already in my head, and I knew that had to be done by growing this with Amanda. When we decided this, we knew we thought of different business paths, but we decided that increasing our return, our average sold price, and taking more time on sourcing. That's what I did at Desiree. I started to put more time on sourcing. Then once I increase the the average sold price, then I was able to hire my 2 employees. Once I hired those 2 employees, I started to increase to put more. I started to increase even because I have more time for sourcing. And then I got with Amanda, Amanda is like a shark. I do bookkeeping and she files the taxes. So we divided with Amanda very well. You could be surprised how key for scaling is to be on top of your numbers, whether they're ugly, good, or nice, or exceeding your
And
expectations.
so how
And
did
that's
you know it was time? Like, how did you
what the business asks you. The
no,
business is asking you. It's like you start to sell so much. Okay. So I went, for example, just to give you an idea, from in 2014 on December. And I was like, with Amanda, would be like, wow, we sold 30,000 on December. Then on 2015, when I started to cross post, that was, we sold 50,000 and we couldn't believe it. And then we broke records in 2016 with 60,000 on December, 50 on January, and like 35 or 40 on November.
because I agree with you. I think that a lot of people don't really know their numbers, right? They don't know their real numbers, what they're really spending, what you really are making. But
Mhm.
also, you
You
know,
have to have the time is Trish when you have the additional income to afford making a mistake when you try something new. You
yeah.
have to be you have to be willing to pay the price. That's what it means to pay the price to be the boss. When you put money on something and then it didn't work. When I did my website, for example, Kathy and Desiree, we were like, yeah, we did our website. Yeah, buy eBay, your seller fees are so high. And then I shipped to Malaysia 10 items for $7,000. And 5 days later, I got a chargeback. And
No
since then,
recourse.
I've never complained about eBay fees anymore because that doesn't happen. When you are on eBay, you can sell to Malaysia and you'll be protected. You can even sell to Argentina. I wouldn't even want to sell to my own country because I know how we have a behavior in Argentina, to want to get something free. So it's the business, Kathy, and you have to have that collateral income. All right. We would have never started List Perfectly or List Clothing or the Mandy Lister if we wouldn't have that additional income to be able to invest not only on the reselling business, but you're making so much money that now you're able to invest or on another reselling business or like we did in a different business, which in this case is software for e-commerce.
But I also think the same thing can be said when you have no money, right? You have
Yeah,
not a dime to your name, which is the position I was in. I was losing money hand over fist. And so I was putting up the very cheap things, the free or very cheap, because that's what I could get my hands on until I could start
right.
to, right? And so you do that till you can move up a little, and
Yep,
you do that until you get to the next level. And
yep.
so some of it is just building a ladder with what you have at your disposal. Well, Clara, this was
Yes, and
very fun.
building relationship, Trish. I build relationships with my with the with my wholesalers and the people, the thrift stores, and everybody.
Yep.
But then also, you know what I did to scale audience and Trish. I got myself on a lot of credit card debt, and you might be like, "Oh, Clara, yeah, 70% of the American, what is it? 80%. I'm sorry, 80% of Americans have credit card debt." But yeah, but these are my former employers. Okay. And if I go, I'm a permanent resident, I'm not a citizen. If I go to bankruptcy, I could be kicked out of the country. So I had so much pressure, Trish, but I knew it was the right time. Amanda had the right drive. I had the right partnership. Okay. And if you don't have a partner, okay, just make sure you have the right people, like, for example, your life partner, your husband, wife, okay, etc. Make sure you have people supporting you because it's a very when you grow and you start making more money, etc., you put in more hours. People, you know how it is. It's a very lonely job sometimes.
It is, and that's why you should come to Listing Party, because even if you do not have somebody in your life who understands this, we do. Come in, come to Mastermind, come to another event, come to something, because you're going to find your people. Because we understand, even when we all don't agree with how to get there, right? Clara and I we don't really disagree on this. We just, we have two different business models.
Yep.
But even when we really disagree, I don't really think that social media selling, I know we're past the time, but I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
Social media selling for what I sell doesn't help. No one cares that they're buying their
I am
red
so
shirt.
curious to try some. Oh, guys, I'm a triatarian. Okay.
I'm a
Uh,
Trinitarian. But for
Oh, so who's judging? Okay, Cheryl. Yeah, yeah. You judge it. Okay. She's calling it a draw. That's it. We're
yay,
calling
thank
it a
you.
draw. All right.
All
Okay.
right. And I just would
Audience.
like to say Star is having her true crime enlist today at 4 o'clock
Yes.
Eastern. So that's in 1 hour. So please go. Um, and I agree with Star also. She just said there's no winner. The answer is whatever is best for your business model. I agree with
There
that.
you go. Smart. Come and see Star Bryson, True Crime Unleashed at Listing Party. And if you haven't joined Listing Party, what are you waiting for? It's free for simple business Pro Plus members. And all you have to do, you don't even have to create a different login. Same login of List Perfectly, same user ID. You can take from 15 seconds to 5 minutes to create a profile, and then you have access to the masterminds, to my reseller. I do strategy. So I do reseller strategy. Join me. I do it every Thursday. I believe it's 9:30 a.m. I think so. Okay. But no, check it out. Okay. Pacific time. All right. But, come and see me every week. Okay. I can't wait to help you grow. I can help to hear your questions. And, Trish also has incredible mastermind every morning. She has, these people are making serious money. All right. So come and join. They're very helpful. They're even, everybody should be on listing party. You don't need to be a pros or intermediate seller,
No,
even beginners. All right.
absolutely. And so Jill does Sip and List on Friday nights. It goes from 8 till, I don't know, whenever. Then she goes late. And then I really appreciate this, Michelle. That was very sweet of you to say.
Aw. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Also, joy tonight. Jill, Nastasia, Rusted Relics, and Friday night Sip and List. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching us. Don't forget to hit those likes. And, if you want to get deeper, you can come and talk with us with Trish on Listing Party. If you're not a List Perfectly customer, you can come to the Facebook group, okay? I have a List Perfectly Facebook group, or my Instagram, List Perfectly Inc. We would be more than happy with Trish to answer any of your questions. Have a beautiful weekend, Trish. Thank you for an amazing session. It's always fun to be with you. Bye, love.